Hello everyone, Creative Fun here, back again with another video, and this time we're flying the AAS-37 Viggen, and it's equipped with quite a lot of weapons here to strike something. But what it's about to strike is actually not quite relevant right now, but because what we're looking at here is the new, recently released DCS 2.5. So this is mainly going to be a video just showing off a little bit about my first impressions with DCS 2.5 and what it entails, and also a little bit more about what you can expect from performance compared to DCS 1.5.8. In all honesty, in my opinion, it doesn't seem to be that much of a difference. So in all honesty, there is not much new stuff with DCS 2.5. The biggest thing in my opinion is the fact that you have combined all the maps, so you don't have to go to the open alpha for Normandy and NTTR, so all the three maps are combined into one. In addition to that, there's also some graphical improvements to the Caucasus map. Now Eagle Dynamics claims there's a completely redone and brand new Caucasus map, new geometry, new textures, and from looking at it I can believe them. It does look very nice. Currently I have the option of deferred shading on, which is kind of like the nicest shading option, I guess, in terms of shadows and stuff like that, and overall everything looks and feels more realistic in DCS 2.5. But this is nothing new. It's we have had that since 2.1 or 2.2, so the deferred shading and stuff like that is not new at all. It's just new to see it in the Caucasus map, and the Caucasus map is, well, it is the Caucasus. Not much has changed there. It just looks a little bit nicer, equivalent to some of the texture packs available for the old DCS, I should say. So why should you update? Well, the only reason I think of that you should really update is, one, if you really want the new Caucasus map. It is nice, but it's not like breathtakingly nice. It looks okay-ish, as you can see here, you know. Of course DCS has been showing, or Eagle Dynamics has been showing off the fanciest angles possible with the Hornet flying in the valleys and so on, and I'm sure this looks very nice, but in the end I still thought DCS Caucasus map looked just fine before. My biggest gripe with DCS is has always been like performance, multiplayer for performance, and the inability to switch maps back and forth. So only one of those has actually been addressed in my opinion with the 2.5 update. Anyway, it's nice for Eagle Dynamics to actually do this completely for free. You got an entirely redesigned map here, and of course the visuals here is especially for helicopter pilot and ground strike specialists. This is going to matter a lot, I think. Everything looks nicer. The trees, especially the trees. Look at the trees, for crying out loud. In terms of performance, we're going to have a look at that in just a while, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'm not impressed, I can say that much overall. However, if you look at cockpit lighting and reflection on the glass and stuff like that, it does look nicer, like it is more realistic. But other than that, you know, it's a graphical update basically to the Caucasus map. All the other graphical features has already been available in DCS 2.2, so there's nothing new there either. So really the only thing to be excited about is the very nice looking Caucasus map here. Hopefully, as time goes on, Eagle Dynamics will keep improving, especially performance and multiplayer performance, and yeah, it will make them much nicer. So anyway, we're gonna jump out and have a look at my graphical settings, and then we're gonna have a look at the different performance you can kind of expect. We're gonna do a side-by-side comparison to the old Caucasus map and the new Caucasus map around my favorite area of operation, the Kobuleti Cross, Kobuleti Air Base, and Kobuleti City. So here basically are my graphic settings right now. I believe I didn't use VSync when I was checking out performance. Usually I have this clicked in, so I'm probably gonna run everything with VSync on. But other than that, this would be the graphic settings I'm trying out. A small disclaimer though. First of all, these graphic settings are just, I've been poking around since it was released yesterday, so I haven't been able to try out every single graphic settings and see how they affect system-wide performance. Anyway, Not much here has changed though. What I prefer to do is, of course, I don't use depth of field, and I prefer deferred shading. I can turn that off, and I can turn on HDR for performance increase, I've noticed, but the deferred shading just looks nicer in the cockpit overall. So keep that on. Trees visibility, at 100% it was actually quite a lot of lag. I pulled it down to around 70%, much better performance there. As you all guys know, I run a pretty high resolution, so it's quite demanding for my graphics card, even though it's a GTX 1080 to produce all the pixels necessary in a smooth frame rate. Civ traffic is generally off for me. I don't feel any need to have that on. Water I set to medium. You can even go as far as setting it to low. I have not seen any discernible effects to this, so do what you want. And visible range set to high here. So this is my graphic settings. Small disclaimer though, just want to add that my performance you see up here with the FPS is not like the true performance of my computer, because I have noticed a slight FPS decrease when I use my recording software, which currently is OBS. I didn't have such a big performance loss before, but recently, I don't know if it's just DCS or if it's some driver issue or something like that, but recently I've seen a little bit more performance loss when I use OBS, especially in DCS, and I noticed about 10 to 15 frames drop, a little bit depending on situation, when I had the recording software activated. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the FPS without the recording software, because, well, then I cannot show you unless I actually use my phone and film the screen. I'm not going to do that though. So anyway, just be aware that it's not like my true performance, because I do get a small performance loss when I'm using OBS. However, the performance loss is similar to both DCS 2.5 and 1.58. So I still believe what I'm going to show you is correct, a correct representation of how my system performs with both 1.58 and 2.5. Of course, 1.58 has the settings I did in my previous video, like a year and a half back, when it's the video. I'm going to link it down in the description how to optimize your graphic settings. Please feel free to look at that. And this is my settings right now. Yes, so we're gonna jump in here and we're gonna have a quick fly around with the Harrier around the Caucasus Cross, and we're gonna fire a missile at an unsuspecting BMP, and we're gonna laugh at explosions. So see you guys in just a small second. Okay, so we're back into the cockpit of the Harrier, and as you can obviously hear, I'm recording this on a different microphone. And to the left we have DCS 2.5, and to the right we have DCS 1.5. Now the clips are not perfectly synced because it was two different missions I flew. Well, same mission but different times I flew this, so they're a little bit off sync. I've tried to cut them together to make them a little bit more synced, so please bear with me. But overall, I'm doing the same mission. I'm taking off from Caucasus. I'm gonna head over to the little abandoned airfield, the one I called Caucasus Cross, and I'm gonna fire a Maverick after doing a little bit of circling around there, and that's basically it. So straight off the bat, you can see a clear graphical differences with the 2.5 versus the 1.5. The shading, lighting, textures, they're all much nicer, especially ground texture. The Caucasus map, of course, looks better. Trees looks better, and so on the 2.5. If you look up to the top left corner of both videos, you will see the FPS meter. I tried to enlarge it. It was very difficult to see it properly. As you can see, there's not quite that much difference in terms of performance. 1.5 has some higher spikes of frame rate, but overall you get the average frame rate. It's not that different. I run a 60 Hz monitor, so everything above 60 Hz is or 60 frames per second is basically wasted performance or wasted frames per second. So as long as it doesn't dip below 60, I think it's perfectly fine, or rather it is perfectly fine, of course. And as you can see here, we're flying around the Caucasus Cross. The the textures look different, and I'm not quite sure which one I like more in terms of just the grass and ground texture here. I do think like the DCS 1.5 seriously looks very good in my opinion. I never had any issues with thinking it looked bad, and I actually think like the grass and how it looks like on the 2.5 is kind of a little bit washed out and yellowish, and I don't know which one is more accurate or not, but at least I think like the texture work on 1.5 was really good. I'm not running any mods on 1.5. It's totally stock, both of these, so no mods. Also, I like to add that I'm recording this a couple of days after I actually recorded the video itself and the previous clip, and I have experienced more with the settings, and in DCS 2.5 if you look at the forums or the Facebook groups, you'll see people telling you to turn off MSAA, anti-aliasing, and it does work, gives you a huge performance increase. Now I'm not completely dissatisfied with the performance as it is right now with MSAA times 4 on, but there are some frame drips, especially if you're doing something very busy or there's a lot of activity. You will see some frame dips with the 2.5, but right now I think performance are very similar even with anti-aliasing on. So anyway, this was a short comparison with DCS 2.5 and 1.5. I hope you enjoy it, and we're just going to finish off this little video by watching the Mavericks hit this unsuspecting BMP. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.